Yeah, man, freaking ACL torn, Joe. I should freaking probably gonna add that later, but
Oh, Geis and two Redskins rookies, right?
I don't know who the second
It's
one.
Geis. It's the Geis, the tight end, and then another guy too.
Yeah, you have guys towards ACL.
There was the tight end.
Deion Kane towards ACL from Indy. A few other players.
There's only three, I thought. Well, like three big names.
Hello from YouTube Live. Give us a second here. We're gonna get this podcast rolling. Just want to make sure we have some good content for you guys here. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the big one. All right. Anyways,
Was it Gardner? Seventh round. Gardner tours, and then Trey Quinn also tore something. Oh, they had like four ACL tears.
with Trey Quinn.
Stomach injury.
Oh yeah, he got laced on his reception. It's crazy, yo.
Yeah, the entire Redskins team got jacked up. Jesus.
Yeah. Anyways, got me down.
5.
Welcome back to another episode of J&J Talk Sports Podcast. We on episode 13, and of course, we did more than that with some of our previews. I'm your host, Justin Palizzi. You can follow me on Twitter at easypalizzi_21. That's easy, POLIZZI_21. You can follow our podcast on Instagram and Twitter, where we have a lot of good content out there as well at JNJTalksports. You could also email us at jnjtalksports@gmail.com with any questions, concerns, comments, or future topics you would like for us to discuss. Joining me this week, just like every other week, one of my two overly large-sized co-hosts. Lyle, how's it going, buddy?
Today's a great day. It's Premier League Saturday. I'm doing well. Again, my name is Lyle Style. You can follow me at LYLESSTYLE. Yes, there are two S's in Lyle's Style. Today's will be great. Again, you can also subscribe to our podcast on Google Play and iTunes at J&J Talk Sports, as well as give us a follow on the Cloud of Sound. We have lots to discuss today, and I'm going to jump right into it. In the run-up to the U.S. Open, we have the Rogers Tennis Cup played in the great nation of Canada in Toronto. The finals are set with South African Kevin Anderson defeating Grigor Dimitrov in 2 sets. And the other semifinal that was played, you know what, Justin, I'll let you try and pronounce the name right now because I cannot do it. What was the other semifinal?
So a South African Kevin Anderson went on to the final. And in the other semifinal, we had Novak Djokovic, right, a.k.a. the Joker, a.k.a. the second or maybe third best tennis player right now of all time, versus 20-year-old Stefanos Tsitsipas, some Greek guy, some Greek teenager, basically, 20 years old. The Joker lost in 3 sets. 3 sets he lost in the semifinals. This is the first teenager to have 3 top 10 wins in a single tournament since 19-year-old in 2006, Rafael Nadal. I'm gonna be honest though, I did not know Nadal was that young.
Yeah,
31 years old. He's still got like 5-6 more years left of just dominating tennis.
Well, I don't know. He's got some weak knees.
Well, the injuries, yeah. But
the thing is, tennis is unfortunately a young man's game, except when it comes to Roger Federer, because he's probably the greatest of all time. But that's a debate for another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna need to see some new blood coming through soon, whether it be Mr. Seats, whether it be a random American, whether it be, we're gonna need to see new blood. Nadal's 31, Djokovic is 28, 29, Federer's 36 or something preposterous.
Yeah.
I mean, Andy Murray's dead in tennis. Yeah. So we're gonna start seeing some new blood in the men's game, and I think it'll be good.
Yeah, and before we move on, I just want to say our other co-host Nick is not here with us today. He is on vacation. He's in Greece right now, which is a coincidence that he's in Greece when a Greek player is dominating in the our side of the world.
I'm sensing a conspiracy.
Yeah, so you guys can follow him. You guys want to follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Stefanu N. I'm not going to spell that out for you. It's spelled exactly how it sounds. He is going to join us for the NFL preview episode, in which we will be doing in about 3 weeks, Lyle.
Yes, sir.
Right after the last preseason game, and then we're going to do a fantasy preview the week after the third preseason game. Because that's usually when drafts start taking place. The drafts start taking place right after the third preseason game because no one really plays the last preseason game. The fourth preseason game is like a waste of time and money for, if you ask me. But we're gonna move on
No,
here.
they gotta cut those last 1.5 players.
Yeah.
By half, I mean one of them is going to the practice
So
squad.
we're gonna move on here in the segment that we like to call Worldwide News with the PGA Championship Golf Championship. It's being played right now in St. Louis. We're on day 3 right now. They're about an hour behind us. So when it's about 12 o'clock over here, they'll be playing and teeing off over there. I'll give you a quick update on the leaderboard. You have Gary Woodland, American, 10 under. Kevin Kistner, 9 under. American. Brooks Koepka, 8 under. Ricky Fowler, 8 under. Dustin Johnson, 7 under. Those are your top 5 All Americans. We have Tiger Woods, who I believe is 4 under through 2. He shot a 70 on day 1 on Thursday. He was 3 over through his first 9 holes. So the first 9,
Yikes!
he was 3 over. He ended up finishing the day at 3 under. So he was 6 under the last 9 holes, which is amazing.
Very, very good. Yeah.
And then he comes into Friday and he shoots a 66, giving him a 4 under par, tie for 19th, 23rd ranked overall. He's there. He's going to need to hit as well as he did the last 2 days in order to have a shot. But I want to make a bold prediction here. Okay. Ricky Fowler has come into second place of a championship tournament 2 times in which he lost by 1 stroke.
Okay.
This is going to be the championship that he wins. Ricky Fowler, my favorite golfer, the guy who he's the only golfer who wears a fitted on the golf course. And if you're from New York, you could appreciate that. He's going to win his first major. He's 2 under par right now. He shot 65 on Thursday and then a 67 on Friday. He's shooting absolutely amazing, right? And
he's in tied for 3rd right now.
He's tied for 3rd. He's 8 under. Gary Woodland shot 64 on Thursday, which was 1 better, and 66 on Friday, which was 1 better. So it sucks that Ricky Fowler is shooting and playing possibly the best round of golf he's ever played, and there's absolutely nothing he can do to win. Like, it's just the other guys are just playing even more better. So I'm gonna make a bold prediction here. It's not that bold because he was one of the favorites to come in, but as you know, Fowler's history and his luck hasn't been on his side. Another thing I want to bring up golf related and pretty quickly here. Lau, did you hear the news about Tiger versus Phil 1-on-1 matchup?
Yes, sir. Thanksgiving weekend.
Thanksgiving weekend, they're gonna play. I think it was 18 holes, 1 round. Winner takes $10 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they donate to a charity of their liking. How do you feel about this event?
Oh, it's great. I mean, a charity game on Thanksgiving weekend. It's another sporting event that the whole family can watch and fall asleep to after their the turkey. Yeah, it's gonna be leftovers. It's gonna get that tryptophan's gonna be flowing. You're gonna see Tiger and Philly. It's gonna, oh, that's cute, and then just nod off to remembering when Tiger was shooting for championships.
Would you pay for this event?
No, I would not.
Okay. Now, the other thing that bothers me is that it's $10 million worth of sponsor money.
Yeah.
Not $10 million of their own money.
Well, so I don't have
$10 million of their own money that they're betting. I feel like it would have put so much more perspective on the matchup. Now you're playing 1-on-1, and all you're really playing for is just bragging rights. And yeah, bragging rights is good between the two of them, but we all know Tiger's the GOAT compared to Phil. Not knocking Phil the lefty for nothing. I'm just saying, we all know that. If you watch any little bit of golf, you know that. But $10 million of your own money, whether you're a billionaire or a millionaire, that's a lot of money.
Well, I don't mind it that it's going to. I don't mind that it's sponsor money because it's going to charity. If it was going to them, then I'd be like, yo, throw your own money in. Let sponsors pay for a different thing for charity. But if all the money's going to charity, like, I can't really be mad at them.
Yeah,
they're doing a good thing.
Yeah. So did you hear the story about the Maryland football team?
I did not. Please regale me with the tale.
Yeah, so back in May, May 29th specifically, Jordan McNair, who is a 19-year-old offensive lineman for the University of Maryland, was doing during workouts in 106-degree weather, was running 110-yard sprints. The coach did not, McNair did not, want to give anybody a break. And I'm sorry, McNair. DJ Durkin did not want to give anyone a break. He was offensive lineman, coach, and Jordan McNair, the 19-year-old lineman for them, ended up dying in the hospital later that day.
Yikes!
He stroked, and this is not the first time that players in the University of Maryland had complained about their coaches and their toxic coaching techniques and how they push the players too hard sometimes, especially in weather like that. So now he's under investigation. It sucks that it's happening 2-3 months later. This should have been an investigation from the get, but it looks like it took more people to open up their mouths about things like this. So it's unfortunate. May him rest in peace. It's sad to see something like this, especially a 19-year-old kid who,
No, but like, are they? Who's investigating? Is it the university or is it like the police? Because like, I don't know. This is borderline charges on it. If it's like it's a dead kid, like, are they looking at charges or are they just looking at internal investigation?
So the team has placed all coaches involved on leave. They placed them on administrative leave, pending the outcome of the external review. So it's police.
It's an external review.
Yeah,
that's something I gotta look into. But like that's.
Yeah, I didn't get too much into detail of it because it's only so much you could read about it. Because when it comes to these college scandals, they try not to release too much information. The next thing, college football related news I want to mention. We're gonna get to some more college football as we come closer to the season. I can't wait for that. But there's a controversy going right now.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Before we get there, it's being conducted by a third party, Walters Inc., an athletic training consulting firm. Hopefully, they report their findings to the police because if again, at worst, it could be negligent manslaughter or negligence or some form of manslaughter if the coach was the cause. But again, I digress. Alabama having problems because Nick Saban sold his soul to the devil. What do they do this time?
So there's a quarterback controversy right now between Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. I can't say his name.
It's called Tua. Yeah,
Tua basically. So Jalen Hurts, as we all know, struggled in the first half of the championship game last year. Second half came out, and Nick Saban did something that he's only done one other time before, and that's bench his veteran quarterback, Jalen Hurts, who, let's all be honest, is not really a good quarterback, for the rookie Tua, lefty, who came in, threw 2 touchdowns, also threw a pick, but he threw 2 touchdowns. He moved the ball for that Alabama offense. And let's be honest, if that move never occurred, I do not think Alabama wins that game at all. So now there's controversy. Jalen Hurts said that he feels betrayed because he stayed there thinking that he was still going to be able to start his senior year, in which he graduates in December. And Saban didn't give him a chance to go ahead and maybe transfer and play someone else. Lyle, what are your thoughts about this?
So if I'm an Alabama fan, and God knows I'm not, at this point, I just say, Nick Saban, do whatever you want to do. Nick Saban has brought you title after title after title. Jalen Hurts, unfortunately, this is the name of the game.
Yep.
You're going to get your education. You're going to be undrafted anyway. Either, you can complain about it to the press, but this is the name of the game. You didn't play well. Somebody played better. They're going to play.
Yep, and he's frustrated because he feels like the coaches haven't communicated anything to him yet. That Tua's the starter, that's it. Like, and no one has brought him into their office and had a sit down with him. So I understand what he's feeling.
I understand that frustration,
but he has to understand that he's not the starter on this team no more.
No, the future is now. And honestly, if I'm a player for Nick Saban, how can I question him? Because he wins and wins and wins.
To the NFL and have good careers. So
yeah.
So I mean, he can just transition to wide receiver.
He'll transition, or he's getting a nice education too. He can transfer to the real world because he's not making it in football, at least as a player, in my opinion.
Yep. And so we're gonna move on here to some UFC news. Do you remember Greg Hardy?
Oh, was that which wife beater was that?
That was the one that played for the Cowboys and played for the Panthers.
Right. He's got suspended for 14 games.
Yeah. So he got his. I think it was his fifth professional fight. He was versing Tiberius Gordon. This is his second fight in a row now that he knocked his opponent out in less than a minute. So this guy just has knockout written all over him.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm glad he's displacing whatever anger he has upon willing opponents instead of his wife or girlfriend. So hopefully he stays out of trouble. But honestly, again, as I said, the UFC is a sideshow, and nothing says sideshow like this next fight, McGregor against Khabib or whatever.
Yeah, I can't. It's Khabib. I can't say his first name.
Yeah, it wasn't this. This
These
was
two
the
hate each
guy.
other.
They hate each other, but this is the reason why McGregor threw that
The
that
chair.
barricade through the bus window. Like the whole thing's a charade. Like how can you take this sport seriously? Again, when this kind of stuff, it's WWE, and but at least WWE knows what it is.
Yep.
UFC's masquerading like a legitimate sports product when really just being a WWE adjacent entertainment product. I just want it to brand itself as what it is. Not it's not going to be boxing. It's
October
going to be
6th. October 6th, a Saturday. We're basically almost 2 months away from that. I can't wait for the fight.
yeah.
Only because I want to see what McGregor is going to do being back in the octagon. And we all know his last fight, I mean, it made him $30 million, but it didn't go so well. So I would love to. I can't wait to see this fight. I want to see what kind of shape McGregor's in and see if transitioning to boxing for a year and then having a transition back to the octagon is going to make any difference in his fighting strategy and his fighting, technique.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he might be a better boxer, which will help. But again, I honestly, this is going to sound bad because I know we're supposed to be all about all sports, but I can't. I just can't get invested to the UFC
Right.
until it actually brands itself into what it is, not what it wants to be. But I digress. We're going to move on to another item that some people don't consider sports and other people do, but nobody can deny that it's up and coming esports. And for those who don't know what esports are, it's video games, and it's hilarious and it's great. The reason why I bring it up is because in Brooklyn, where we're from, we're New York born and bred, we had the Overwatch League have their finals. Now I wouldn't be bringing this up unless ESPN and its affiliates of ABC owns ESPN, a lot of ABC stations televised the semifinals and finals on TV. ESPN2 covered the finals of this. That's huge for esports. Right now, most esports are online, on Twitch, on YouTube, on those type of mediums. But now we have nationally televised electronic sports. This is huge, and because it was in New York, obviously I took an interest. The New York City had a really good season, but they got upset by Philly in the semis, and the winner of the first Overwatch League tournament is the London Spitfires. Yes, we let a bunch of Brits beat us. Again, esports, but ESPN putting it out on mainstream cable is huge for esports. Esports is up and coming, whether you like it or not. And we're going to be seeing a lot more of this, especially from ESPN, who seem to take the impetus in covering esports and the money that's involved there. And yes, the grand prize for the team that won was $1 million. $1 million, which is not the biggest prize. The biggest prize I think is Dota 2 with $10 million for the grand prize of the World Finals. But yeah, there's money in it. And as you can tell with the whole Fortnite thing that's going on, which Fortnite's garbage, but it's a whole other story. Some people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. It's insane. But yeah, I think that's all that does it. Yeah. That does it for worldwide news.
For worldwide news, so we're gonna transition in here. And Lyle, take it easy, calm down, don't get so excited. Okay, it's football season, all right, the real football season, American football season. I'm gonna let you get your shine right now. Let's talk about some soccer.
And for those who don't know, the Premier League has started. Again, we're recording this on August 11th. The Premier League started August 10th.
Technically yesterday, but today you got all the games.
Yeah, yesterday was a Man U Leicester City game, which was surprisingly, interesting. But first, we're going to talk about big name transfers. And Justin, I know this is the one you want to talk about the most.
Oh yeah, the only one I care about.
Your boy, Cristiano Ronaldo. As I think we've discussed, he is now fully fledged Juventus player, taking adorable pictures with Pablo Dybala, your other man crush. How you feeling for Juventus this season? Have you Oh God! How you feeling for Juventus this season? What do you expect from them?
Well, they already were the favorite for Serie A, right? That's clear cut in stone. Now, with the acquisition of Ronaldo, I think you have to put them as the favorite to maybe even win the Champions League now, because they got close last year. Now you're adding basically the best player in the world. Yeah, and yes, 33 years old, but Ronaldo hasn't looked like he's even lost a step. And it's not like he's coming to a team in which they lack goal scorers, because you have someone like Dybala, who I think is a better striker and goal scorer than anybody else that Real Madrid had in the past. You have Benzema, who was starting. Bale was coming off the bench, which always baffled me. By the
He's
time
always
Bale came
injured.
off
He
the
was
bench,
always injured.
yeah, so I think he's joining a better team, and as we all know, Italian teams like to play defense. So you playing defense, and you put in Dybala and Ronaldo up top. You just run around people in circles. I love it. I'm excited. I can't wait to get my Dybala jersey. I wanted to get one before the World Cup, but Italy wasn't in the World Cup, so I didn't want to invest that money just yet. Because at least I could represent an Italian team and Italy, as well as my favorite player in Dybala. But now I can't gets a Juventus jersey, no other than Dybala. Because if I get a Ronaldo one, you're gonna have all these people be like, "Oh, I had a Ronaldo
Big
jersey, but they were a
fan.
man. I had a Manchester United Ronaldo jersey. I had a Real Madrid Ronaldo jersey. Now I have a Juventus Ronaldo jersey." Okay, well, so you're just like the LeBron of soccer. Then you just follow him wherever he goes. That's not how sports works. I'm sorry. So I'm still gonna get a Dybala jersey, but I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna make, I think, Italian soccer, as we all know, in the '90s, Italian soccer was the league. Serie A was the league everybody went to, and it kind of switched up a little bit with the Spain league and the Premier League. So maybe the Italian league could, yeah, it's right. It's all about money. Maybe the
All
Italian
about
league
the
could
money.
finally start attracting more of these top notch players. It's unfortunate they lost Pogba. That would have been a crazy, like front
Yeah.
three right there with Pogba, Ronaldo, and Dybala. But
Well,
whatever.
yeah. Well, the thing, yeah, again, Juventus, again, they did get better. Again, Wojciech Szczesny is their number one goal contender. He used to play for Arsenal. He's a serviceable goalkeeper, but he's no Buffon. They picked back up Bonici. Juventus have a very
Yeah, Bonucci was
strong.
a good ad. That was
Yeah,
a
it,
small
it
ad
adds
that helps.
it adds depth. He's a good defender. He understands how to, he understands the relationship with Chiellini, and Juventus are going to be a formidable team. They did lose Higuain, of course, because they don't need him anymore. Because they're probably going to play Ronaldo at the 9 or Mandzukic at the 9, and they're going to just swap. Um, I do disagree. I do think Real Madrid, of course, had an excellent team. Again, even though Modric and Kroos are the other side of 30, they still are a formidable team, but they didn't really. They still have 3 weeks left in the transfer window, but they haven't really replaced Ronaldo yet, which is
Yep.
surprising. But I do want to talk a little bit more about Spain, who do have their transfer window still open. As you know, the Premier League has shut as of Thursday. Barcelona replaced Paulinho, who went back to China, with Arturo Vidal, another 31-year-old destroyer. It's a nice ad. I don't understand why they're just buying big names. It's I'm a little anti-Barcelona for several reasons. Firstly, the fact that they play Messi ball and ruined what was going to be a beautiful, beautiful strike partnership between Messi and Ibrahimovic. But that's just my personal beef. But Barcelona hasn't brought up a youth player in a very long time, and for a team that hails their La Mesa Academy as one of the best in the world, hasn't done squat, so they're stuck buying like Real Madrid has been doing, even though Real Madrid has now been bringing up their youth players. I'm just saying, I don't like Barcelona. It's a good move for them.
I think nobody
Um,
likes Barcelona.
yeah, it's a good move for them. Vidal still has a couple years left in the tank, but Barcelona need to reevaluate their priorities. But now we're going to get into the most important league, the best league, the only league that truly matters, the Premier League. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the promoted clubs. They've spent wildly. They've spent well. Fulham and the Wolverhampton Wolves look beautiful. Everton made some great plays. Go through their transfers. They picked up some prime targets. Andre Sherrill going to Fulham. He's a World Cup winner. Seri going to Fulham. He was wanted by Barcelona and Arsenal. Moutinho, who has a Euro 2016 under his belt and a French League Championship, going to the Wolves. Again, we're in for a very exciting season, but I know we're only going to get into depth on the Big Six. Let's start with United. Unfortunately, they won yesterday. Their biggest transfers were Diago.
Unfortunately, they won yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it. United, they picked up Fred from Shakhtar. Excellent box-to-box midfielder, great pickup, as well as Diego Dalot, who is a right back, I believe. I mean, he's 18. Mourinho has been crying that he wanted more, and Mourinho, that's what he does. He cries. Chelsea picked up Jorginho from Napoli. They picked up Mateo Kovacic on loan from Real Madrid. They picked up a new goalie for a disgusting amount of money who's only played 50 games. He's looked good today. They lost Courtois, and they still might lose Hazard to Real Madrid. Tottenham, they did nothing. No one. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Like, it's good for continuity, sure, but they still had holes to plug. Silly Tottenham. Man City, they picked up a couple of youth players, but their big pickup was Riyad Mahrez out of Leicester City, and he looks good. The rich keep getting richer. They have Sane, Sterling, Silva, De Bruyne, Mahrez, Jesus, Aguero. It's again, the rich getting richer. Should have plugged up the midfield a little bit, gotten some cover for Fernandinho, but whatever. And then Arsenal picked up Torreira, excellent defensive midfielder, Socrates and Lichtsteiner to shore up the back. Lino as a new goalkeeper, and Gundozi, I can't even pronounce his name, the David Luiz lookalike who looks good in the midfield. And lastly, Liverpool, they picked up Alisson, Sheridan Shaqiri, Naby Keita, and Fabiano. Yep. Excellent pickups, great midfielders, and a cover for their strike force and a goalkeeper that won't get concussed mid-Champions League.
Yep.
So, Justin, who do you have winning the whole thing?
So originally I was going to go with Arsenal only because they're one of the teams I like to cheer for. So
yeah, buddy.
I only said that just to please you, but
I know.
I think Liverpool is going to take it. They're already the second favorite as it was before the transfer window. Now they add goalkeeper Alisson, they add Shaqiri, who we all know is a good goal scorer. I think with those two new additions, Liverpool, I mean, they already were offensive juggernauts last year. I just saw in the Champions League, they were just scoring goals left and right. I think with them now added to that team, it gives them a slight edge over someone like Man City, who year in and year out is always good, but they never seem to be dominant enough to convincingly be the next team for the following year. Well,
so last year, Man City put up a historic season.
Yep.
This year, everyone knows what they're about. And again, also, but everyone knows kind of what Liverpool is about too, because they did some epic things. I don't think Mohamed Salah puts up a similar season. How I see this,
he has some more help now, so he doesn't.
Yeah. Oh, he had this. I mean, Shaqiri's not starting. It's going to be him, Firmino, and Sane as always. Yeah. They do have some more strength in the middle of the park with Keita and Fabiano, but my prediction is, this hurts me to say, I do think City pull it out again. I do think City win. I think Liverpool come in second. I say Arsenal come in third, and here's why.
Homer.
No, and here's why. Chelsea's coach started really, really late. They look good today.
They're winning 3-0.
Yeah, they're winning against Huddersfield, even though they should be. Yeah. Huddersfield should have 2 goals, but I digress on that. They're going to take some time against the bigger teams. It's good that they're starting against Huddersfield because sorry showed up late. But also, they still might lose Hazard. They lost Courtois. We don't know. This other goalkeeper that they just picked up only played 50 games. And they just spent like 60-something million on him. Something preposterous like that. Sorry. So City first, Liverpool second, Arsenal third. I also think Man U is going to be in for one of those third-year Mourinho seasons. Because if you listen to him and you heard his players the entire preseason, it was bad. They looked bad. And they got lucky with that penalty yesterday. They scored it in the first 4 minutes with a questionable penalty, and they needed that. They got lucky. Fourth, it's gonna be either Tottenham or Chelsea. Fifth will be either Tottenham or Chelsea, and sixth will be United. I don't think United has a good season this year. I think Mourinho's out by January. But it's going to be a fun season. There's going to be a lot. There's a lot of every team except for Tottenham has gotten better in one way or another.
Tottenham was considered one of the favorites before the transfer window. So
right, and then
if anything to make themselves better.
Right, if Chelsea loses Hazard, that's going to be a huge blow to them. But these teams got better. So it's gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be a really interesting season. We're gonna be following it closely. At least I'll be following it closely and reporting on it and crying about it. I'll tweet him pictures of my tears, especially tomorrow when Arsenal takes on Man City. And yeah, we're glad to have you along with it. But I think we're gonna move on from European football to a beautiful American game invented in the heartland of America,
Yep. And
baseball.
that sport is baseball, baby. Yes. And I want to start off with Jason Worth's comments. As we all know, Jason Worth used to play for many teams, including the Pirates and the
The
most
Mets
recently
and the
the
Nationals,
Nationals at the
or
most
the
recent
Phillies and the
Nationals.
Nationals.
So he's obviously been cut. He doesn't have a job now. A lot of teams are not interested in, if any at all. And he made comments, I believe it was 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago, saying that the analytic people, the nerds of the sports, are
Super
ruining
nerds.
the super nerds are ruining baseball because they're making managers do all these things regarding analytics, and no one has gut feeling options to do anymore. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you agree with him to an extent? Do you not agree with him at all? What do you make of this?
So
Or is he just being petty because he doesn't have a job anymore?
I think he's definitely being a little petty. There's no question about that. And analytics absolutely has its place in baseball. But analytics can't make up for the hot hand. Analytics can't really decide on the intangibles, you know, the leadership qualities. Do I think analytics is killing baseball? Absolutely not. That's a wild assertion. Do I think it has cut down on some bold takes and some bold and necessary adjustments? Absolutely, because analytics takes away from the hot hand. It takes away from momentum a little bit. To say it's killing baseball is preposterous. To say it is changing baseball would be fair. What do you think?
So my thoughts on it, I think it is changing baseball. I think it's changing it. So the analytics part of things, right? That's for you to maximize your team's ability to win more games. Okay. Yes, the more home runs you hit and the less strikeouts and the more strikeouts you have is going to lead us to more runs and more wins. I understand that. But I do think it ruins the game and how it's played. I'm not saying it ruins the game, it's ruining the game and how you're trying to win because ultimately you want to win, right?
You
But with
play to win
you
the
play to
game.
win the game exactly, and I think, in my opinion, I don't think it's ruining the way that the game is being played,
Right.
ruining the game as far as the pastime and how you can't do that gut feeling thing anymore. You know what I mean? Like
Well, I,
it's
I
really
think you
hard.
can. It's just like again, it's sometimes
And-
you're not able to put in the hot hand because analytics dictates. But
exactly.
like again, the managers are still on the ground. The manager's are still the one making the call. If they really need to make that gut call, they'll make that gut call.
Yeah.
But like to
Like
Jason Worth to say it's ruining the game, you can feel the salt. You can feel the high blood pressure from the excess of salt. It's excessive.
Yeah,
But
yeah, like Alex Cora, right? So Alex Cora, as we all know, is the manager for the Red Sox.
and a garbage human being.
Steve Pierce hit 2 home runs against the Yankees the night before. And analytics said to bench him the next day because it was a lefty pitch. I mean, a righty pitching. He doesn't hit righties well. Alex Cora went against that feeling, started him anyways, and he ended up hitting a home run that ultimately helped them beat the Yankees. So
Mhm.
I think the analytics does help you win the game, but I do think it's ruining the way it's played.
Yeah. And
Now,
the way I think a lot of things view analytics is a long term plan. It is who is going to be the best over time. Game to game, I think it does play a factor, but not as much so. But again, to say it's really the Jason Worth, just go back to hitting slow pitch softball home runs, which was a clip on ESPN a couple days ago. Just go back to hitting slow pitch softball or home runs and go be salty somewhere else. We're not here for your nonsense.
right. So we're gonna move on here. So now we're gonna talk about some Yankees. I really don't want to talk about them because they disappointed me the other
I
weekend.
can't. I can't. I can't. I don't. I just.
Yes.
Why?
So the Yankees got swept last week, 4 games to 0 against the Red Sox. The Red Sox ended up having a 10-game lead after that. The Yankees were outscored 28-13, and two of those games they scored 1 run. So basically, and it was just disgusting to see that. And despite losing the 4 games, despite losing the 4 games, the Yankees went on to win 4 straight right after that. And although Boston is still in the lead, they're only in the lead by 7.5 games now, I believe, or maybe 7 in the loss column. So the Yankees are still in it to win the series. I think they still got 6 games left against Boston. Not that they'll sweep 6 games, because I highly doubt that. But Lai, what are your thoughts when going into that series, coming out that series? How do you feel about the Yankees going forward?
I mean, we're a wild card team. That's how I feel. That was our chance to really make this AL East race a race. The problem, I mean, not the problem, but what we're going to be a playoff team. We're going to have to play the play-in game again. That was our chance to really put our destiny in our own hands, and we weren't ready. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and so for me, it's like, okay, we're the Yankees, right? We're the Bronx Bombers. We're the new up and coming team with Judge and Stanton and all these power hitters, and we threaten and we scare everybody. And being from New York and being stubborn, fans like we are, no one could touch us, and we feel that way, and we will always feel that way. I think this was a reality check. It made the Yankees say, like, hey, listen, you guys may be the Yankees and you guys may be favorites and you guys may have 27 championships, but we're Boston and we're the best team in baseball right now. And we're going to slap you guys down to the floor and give you guys a reality check and let you guys know that we're here to stay too and we're here to win just as much as you guys are. And I think it was a good 4 game series sweep. Trust me, I feel so bad gaming out of it. I felt sick to my stomach losing 4 games to them in a row. But I
It's
thought it
not a
was a
good
reality
time.
check.
Not a good time.
I thought it was a reality check. I think the Yankees are like, okay, you know what? Let's get back to our winning ways. They went on to win 4 straight. They lost last night, but they went on to win 4 straight right after that. Lance Lynn had a great start, right? I think he went 6 2/3 of an inning, allowed 1 run, was awesome for us. New acquisition from the Twins pitcher that the Yankees got. Lance Lynn is big for us because this pushes Sonny Gray to the bullpen. And as we know, Sonny Gray came out 2 games ago to pitch out of the bullpen, and he pitched 3 scoreless innings. 3 scoreless innings. That's what Sonny Gray was able to do. So Sonny Gray is able to do that out of the bullpen. I would love to see that. We have Shane Robinson here also, who has been starting in right field in place of Judge. I don't get this, and the reason why I don't get this is because I feel like there are other players in which we could put out there to play right field. Why is Shane Robinson playing when he's batting like 120 in this?
He's batting 148 with an OBP of 233 right now.
Okay,
it's bad.
In 6 7 games, and he wasn't even ready to be in this position with the MLB. So I don't get it, and that leads me to the next point I was going to make with the Neil Walker situation. Neil Walker is the best Yankees hitter since the All-Star break. Okay, he has 50 at bats. He scored 8 runs with 17 hits, 2 doubles, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, 4 walks, 15 strikeouts, batting 340. 340. Mm-hmm. He's been amazing. He's hit 2 home runs, right, 2 games ago, when I guess the White Sox. Comes into the series against the Texas Rangers. He benches Walker because analytics say to bench him.
Also,
Walker hit 2 home runs in the same game, one from each side of the plate. So I don't want to hear this lefty righty thing.
It wasn't analytics. Neil Walker dealing with injury. Reported about 3 hours ago.
Really?
Yep, Neil Walker, neck issues and sickness, according to manager Aaron Boone.
No, actually, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that if it's according to Aaron Boone. Because according to Aaron Boone, the reason why Sanchez didn't hustle down the line was because his hamstring was hurting.
Yeah. Walker ended up not really being available. A little emergency situation tonight with a kind of neck and illness. Yeah. Unless it got close late, there was an emergency spot, that kind of thing. And Voit, throughout his career, has kind of hit both right-handed and left-handed pitchers.
Yeah, I'm not buying that, buddy. I'm not buying that. But you know what? Nonetheless, it is what it is, right? So let's see. If the Yankees put him on a 10-day DL, they put him on a 10-day DL. I don't think if they don't put him on a 10-day DL, it's BS. It's BS. If they put him on a 10-day DL, I believe it because right now the Yankees are so thin, which is why I didn't want to trade Brandon Drury. They're so thin right now in both the outfield and the infield that they can afford to put someone like Neil Walker, who plays all 3 positions, out there. But I want to give some props right now to the man the guy who we all criticized at the beginning of the season. Well, not all of us. I think me and you weren't really so critical of him. We were just,
No, we were
we
like,
knew he was going to
he's
come
trying
around.
too much.
Giancarlo Stanton, since the All-Star break, he's batting 284, has 19 strikeouts, which is actually pretty good to put him on pace for a year. He has 5 home runs, which is the most on the team, 4 doubles, 21 hits, 14 runs scored. He has come up big for the Yankees the past week or so with Judge out of the lineup. This is exactly what we brought Stanton in to do. He has 25 home runs, I believe, on the year. He's not going to get 50 plus like he did last year, but I think he could crack maybe 40, and we're going to need him to get close to that 40 home run mark throughout the rest of these last 2 months of the season because we're going to need that kind of production from Stanton in order to make a run here and try to push for the division, if not secure that #1 spot on the wild card. What are your thoughts, Lau?
Well, firstly, I do want to talk about that home run that Stanton had, I think, a couple of days back, where he had the fastest velocity, like outbound velocity of any home run hit ever. He's a monster. But yeah, Stanton, I like what Stanton's doing. Again, he just needs to put bat wood on the ball. He doesn't need to do too much. It's just the Yankees right now are, I believe, 5.5 up or 4.5 up in the wild card.
Yeah.
Just
So
get healthy. Yankees need to get healthy, and then the Yankees need to just not. Yeah, they just need to get healthy and not choke.
yep. So we're gonna get into some NBA talk here, and I want to kind of breeze through this. The Knicks schedule. Did you get to see the Knicks schedule at all?
All I saw was W's.
All you saw was W's. Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. So I'll read through it pretty quickly. Knicks versus Hawks, Knicks versus Nets, Knicks Celtics, Knicks Bucks, Knicks Heat, Knicks Warriors, Knicks Nets again, and then Knicks Pacers. So they have 8 games in the month of October, basically half of the month of October. Let's play some win loss here. Let's have some fun. Knicks at home, first game of the season against the Hawks. Win or lose?
Win.
Win. I'll give them a win too, being that the Hawks are supposed to be the worst team in the league.
And Trae Young.
Knicks versus Knicks at the Nets in Brooklyn. Second game of the season.
Win.
Win. I'll give them a loss here. I don't think the Knicks are as talented, and the Knicks are actually projected to finish higher than the Knicks this year. So it also depends on what we see from Kevin Knox. Knicks home against Celtics. That's a loss for me.
It's gonna be a really tight game, but I think we lose by about 30.
Okay. Next game, Knicks at Bucks. What are your thoughts on that one?
Loss.
I have them losing that one as well. All right. So right now I have the Knicks at.
You have them at 1-3. I got them
at
at 2-2.
Knicks at Heat. I have them losing that game as also. So I have them at 1-4.
Yep, loss.
All right. Knicks versus Warriors.
Win.
Loss.
Win.
So 1-5.
Win. They're winning that game.
1-5. Then I have
put it in the book.
Then I have Knicks home against the Nets. I will give them this win. So right now I have the Knicks at 2-5. And you
have them at 4-3. Because they're beating the Warriors. You could put it in the book.
And this is why nobody listens to us when we talk about the NBA. Last game of the month.
It's a joke anyway.
The last month of October. The last game in the month of October is Knicks home against the Pacers. Win or lose?
Loss.
I actually have the Knicks winning that one. So I have the Knicks 3-5 in the first month of October, which will probably put them for like the second worst team in the NBA, which I'm all for at this point because I don't want Porzingis to come back and try to play any meaningful games.
I have them at 4-4 because we shock the world by beating the Durant Snake, the bad niece Curry. You know, I don't have a witty nickname for the other two, but we're going to shock the world. Kevin Knox is putting up a 50 spot that night. Also, put it in the book. You hear that? You hear that, world? When the Knicks win on the 26th, everybody's like, oh, my God, nobody saw that coming. Lyle Style saw it coming. Lyle Style knew.
Yeah, and I'm pulling up the Christmas games right now. So there's one game that kind of has me baffled, I guess you would say. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Give me a second here. So we have Knicks versus Bucks at 12 p.m. That's the first game on Christmas Day. What a great Christmas gift we're going to get. OKC versus Rockets at 3. That's going to be a great game. 76ers versus Boston, 5:30 game. Lakers versus Golden State, the 8 o'clock game. And then the Jazz versus Portland, the 10:30 game. Here's what I don't like. I would have loved to see the Celtics and Sixers play the first game of the day at 12 o'clock. And then give their 5:30 game to Toronto versus San Antonio on Christmas Day.
Yeah,
But
but
here's the thing: you can't play a Toronto team in a Canadian team on those kind of American holidays that we celebrate and stuff like that because it's un-American like. But I would have loved. I mean, I love my Knicks. I love my Knicks. I really don't care to see them on Christmas Day. To be honest, it's like
well,
when the
no,
it's like when the
here's
Giants play on Thanksgiving Day. I'm not trying to have my day ruined by a loss.
here's the thing.
So
Christmas Day, you wake up at, and again as a individual of the Jewish faith. If you didn't know, I do celebrate Christmas Eve with an Italian
well, your
family.
name doesn't. There's no L in JNJ Talk Sports, so you will hope people knew that the J stood for something.
Now they know we've revealed it. But basically, so I do celebrate my Christmas Eve with one of my best friends' families. The whole Italian Christmas Eve, the seven fish, and all that jazz. But Christmas Day, the way it's been described to me when you're not 6 years old, you wake up a little late, you open your presents, you schmooze about, you have a little this, little that. You don't want a game that's going to be like super intense. So the Knicks are a perfect appetizer. Then you get those good games rolling. Now, do I want to see the Spurs and Toronto? Not particularly. I'm excited to watch their games, period, because I'm excited to watch DeRozan try and put 90 when he only puts up 10. But I like the Christmas schedule. I always feel bad for like LeBron and the superstars of this league because they never get to spend Christmas with their families. They're always playing a game. So like, I feel a little bad for them. Don't get me wrong. Like by feel bad, I mean like I feel bad for the kids, like a smidgen. But I feel a little bad for them because they're always playing. They never get to hang out with their fam that night. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the Christmas games. I'm a little excited for, even though I have been hating on basketball. I'm excited to watch because again, we do have some good teams. We do have some good storylines for the season, and it should be a fun season, albeit only fun for like 6 teams.
Now I want to get into quickly here. So Melo went to Houston.
Yeah.
Do you think that puts them over the edge against the Warriors? No. All right. All
Melo's
right.
trash.
Okay. Okay. So that's that. I want to get that out the way quickly, and then we have LeBron. Obviously, he built a school in Ohio. Great what he's doing for the community there. Basically, it's a free school. They pay for your tuition. You get free clothes and all that stuff like that. That's
Grades three through
awesome.
six. Yeah, I mean LeBron's doing for his community. Again, you could rag on the basketball player that is LeBron for the silly stuff he does on the court,
Mhm.
but again, that's just sports. LeBron, the human, he makes very few mistakes. And he's one of the most. I was talking to my coworkers about this. He is one of the most scrutinized sports figures ever,
Social media
ever.
era. So
Yeah, like we were discussing like, oh, like one of my coworkers was like, oh, hopefully, I can't wait till we, like, jokingly, I can't wait till we find out something bad about LeBron. I'm like, if there's something bad about LeBron as a person, we would already know about it. He is scrutinized. And he brought up the coast, well, what about Tiger Woods? I'm like, Tiger Woods was never scrutinized. Tiger Woods was revered. LeBron James is scrutinized to the dot on the letter I. LeBron James has been a model person, and good for LeBron. I still hate you because you beat the Knicks every week, every year, all the time, and kill us in Madison Square Garden. But as a person, great guy. Keep doing what you're doing, big fella.
yeah, I want to get into Jalen Brown's comments real quickly. So he went on.
Oh God.
I think it was CJ McCollum's, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken,
CJ McCollum.
on his podcast. And CJ McCollum asked him what are his thoughts on next year. And Jalen Brown came out and said, we're making it into the finals. Like, there's no doubt about it. We're making it to the finals. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think he's being premature, or do you think there's a threat out in East? Being that LeBron's not there no more, another threat out in the East where Jalen Brown and the Celtics need to take a step back and be like, okay, it's not going to be an easy road or as easy as we think it's going to be.
Well, again, Brad Stevens already sat his team down for sure and be like, okay, this is what we have to do this, this, and they have a good enough coach where these are just words. Jalen Brown, he's exuding confidence that his fans want to hear. He's exuding the confidence that his team wants to hear. But they're going to take game by game. Are they the favorites in the East? In my opinion, even with Kawhi Leonard going to Toronto, even with the Sixers doing Sixer things, the Celtics are the favorite to go in the East. I do think it would be at this point, barring injury, I think the Celtics do make it to the NBA Finals. But again, we'll do our NBA preview in about a month and a half, so we'll get further in depth
Yeah,
on that.
let's not talk about the NBA preview right now. We got the NFL coming up, which is our
Yeah,
next topic, baby. I can't wait. My favorite sport. As you guys know, I am a Giants fan, Lyle and Nick. unfortunately are Jets fans. So they had the fortune of never, seeing a quality Jets team. Well, except for the two AFC championships in which you were led by the Sanchez. But nonetheless, before we get into some NFL talk, it's time for one of our very favorite and very special segments. Lyle goes wild. Lyle, the floor is yours.
So as Justin says, it's NFL preseason time. And if you looked at our group chat, you'd see two extraordinarily excited individuals in Justin and Nick, and one salty Debbie Downer. His name is me. His name is Lyle Style. Why am I salty? Have you seen these preseason games? Have you watched, like, you in the audience, are you viewing? Especially, I tried. I really sat down. To try and get invested into these preseason games. I have been watching the highlights. I've been reading the reviews and all that stuff. I can't watch. It's a problem, and here's why. The NFL rule, the new targeting rule, whatever that may be, you can't lead with your helmet, or you can't lower your helmet. You can't do anything to tackle someone. Has the potential to ruin the game. And don't get me wrong, player safety is extraordinarily important. Player safety is a huge priority. But when a safety can't come across the field and put a clean hit into the chest of another player, might as well abolish the safety. Might as well abolish defenses. The NFL, if the way they're calling it in the preseason is the way they're going to call it in the NFL is going to be boring. Every penalty is going to be every play is going to be a flag. Safeties are not going to do anything. Safeties are already criminally underpaid, and yes, there's a safety, I believe it's the San Diego safety, who believes there's a conspiracy on it, and that's why safeties are being underpaid. But player safety is super important. But in a sport like the NFL, there's always the inherent risk. The players do understand that there's an inherent risk of getting injury when you're slamming bodies against each other. Safety is important, but there's a limit. The NFL has already so much stuff that's going on that's not the rules. They have the anthem protests, they have the collusion, they have, their rules that are ridiculous. They have the CBA coming up. The NFL has so many problems. The one thing that's kept them going is the quality of the actual product. And if this rule is called the way it's being called in preseason, the quality of the product is going to go down exponentially. Again, that's why the preseason, I haven't been able to watch it. It's been infuriating because I love football. I love watching football. But I haven't been able to do it. I physically can't do it. I'm hoping it changes. I'm hoping game one, I'll be watching my Jets with an ice-cold iced tea, maybe some pretzels. And I'm hoping the game is enjoyable to watch. I mean, it's the Jets, so I'm probably going to be crying the entire time.
I'm hoping that IC has some liquor in it.
Drinking's bad for you guys, but I'm hoping that it's an enjoyable game. Minus the Jets doing Jets things. Like, I'm hoping it's a good product. But if I see a safety come out the middle, make a clean hit, and I see a flag, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be furious.
That's gonna happen.
And it's gonna happen, and I already know. And it's gonna be. Hopefully I can do it. But the NFL the NFL has so many issues. Honestly, I should just go wild in the NFL. The NFL has so many goddamn issues. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be seeing an NFL in 10, 15 years, or an NFL the way we see it today in 10, 15 years. I'm worried. I'm concerned. That's it.
And that was Lyle Goes Wild. And what a way to transition into our NFL talk here. I'm excited. So, as you heard from Lyle, apparently he's not watching any preseason. So
again, I am reading all the articles. I am watching highlights. Like, I'm catching the good stuff, but I'm also seeing it was the Hall of Fame game where I saw a very clean hit by the middle linebacker.
Yeah.
I was calling for a penalty, and I'm just like, this is nonsense. There's no headhunting. It was nonsense. But again, I plan to watch all the regular season games. I'm doing my fantasy football. I'm keeping up with everything in writing.
Right. And I want to start off with just a small piece of sad news here. Unfortunately, second rounder drafted by the Washington Redskins, who is in my division, the NFC East. Not that I really care for any of their players and or their, how their season is going to pan out. Darius Geis tore his ACL in preseason. it's unfortunate that a rookie who was the second best prospect, the second best running back to come into this draft right after Saquon Barkley is not going to be able to hit the field this season. Lyle, what are your thoughts about that?
I mean, these things happen. Again, it's the risk. It sucks. You know, as someone who this is where his entire NFL career. This is where you want to get to. He's at the pinnacle, and to be stopped by, I believe it was a non-contact injury too.
No,
Oh, it
he
was
got tackled,
contact.
but I mean he
Oh,
was looking pretty good too, man.
yeah. It's. I mean, it just sucks. He'll be back next year, hopefully. You know, he's young. Players of his age have been known to come back from injuries like this, so he'll be fine. It just sucks that you reach the pinnacle, you reach where you've been trying to get your entire life,
He's in a
just to
good
have it delayed for
situation.
another year.
He's in a good situation to succeed. Playing for the Redskins, you know, with a good offensive line. It just sucks. And then on top of that, like if you play fantasy football and you're already drafted and you have him on your team, that sucks even worse because unfortunately you weren't smart enough to wait until after the preseason and draft and you drafted
Well,
him.
so like by you saying so like what's honestly what sucks the most is he's injured for him. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sucks for fantasy owners, but remember, fantasy owners, I'm sure I'm going to be reminding you and Nick all season. These are still humans with lives. These injuries suck for them so much more than our
Yeah.
fictional games.
I never cheer for an injury against against a player on varsity
Oh
in
no.
fantasy. I just root for them to suck. Nick will be the first one like, oh, break his leg. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Yeah, like
God, these are people. Yeah, again, fantasy sports are great, but I think one thing that I will agree with Richard Sherman is that fantasy has ruined the fan-player relationship, where the fans actually hope for them to do succeed as people as well.
yeah,
But
yeah,
you know, again, I'll be the conscience of the group and remind people that it sucks for the fantasy owners, but it sucks for the players so much more.
right. So I don't want to get into too much of the Giants and Jets because we have some talk about that coming up.
Yeah, if you
Aside
really,
from those two teams,
oh my god.
what any other team, any other player, has there been a bright spot or a player in which or a team in which had they shown you something? You're keeping your eye out on them for the rest of the preseason to see how things pan out.
Yes. So I'm very excited for the elite Joe Flacco to be benched this year, and I want to see myself some Lamar Jackson. I just want to see it. I'm excited. He's electric. The dude can move. Um, he looked good. He looked real good, and I'm
Joe
real
Flacco
excited.
looked pretty good
No,
too,
no,
though.
of course,
Joe Flacco had one drive, 5 for 7 on passing, 71 yards, and a touchdown.
well, Joe Flacco's elite, so like you expect him to look good. But no, I'm hoping the Ravens are kind of terrible, so I can see some Lamar Jackson this year, because
Yeah,
hopefully the Ravens realize he is the future, and I have to give credit to where credit is due to Baker Mayfield. Oh, Baker, he looked comfortable in the pocket. He was. You could tell he
he was
was
a little
trying.
jittery.
Well, you could tell he's a little jittery. You could tell he was trying to stay in the pocket more. You could tell he was trying to, improve on his pocket passing. But he played well for his first game for all the pressures. He didn't look. He didn't look half bad. And
Yeah,
Tyrod didn't look bad either. But like Tyrod's always been like, I'm going to throw 20 times, complete 15 of them for 200 yards. That's Tyrod's game. But Baker, he looked serviceable. Again, this is preseason. Preseason means nothing, but it gets him the reps.
yeah. And just for you guys, Lamar Jackson, like I said, Flacco did look good, but Lamar Jackson was 7 of 18 for 119 yards. He had 5 carries for 21 yards and 1 touchdown. So yeah, Lamar Jackson definitely did look good. I could give you guys the Browns. I could give you Mayfield stats as well. Baker Mayfield went 11 for 20 for 212 yards. He had that one slant to Callaway, which he caught a slant and went for like 6 yards for a touchdown. For 2 touchdowns, he did also have 3 rushes for 13 yards and no touchdowns there. So I have a few players that were I was very impressed with. Okay, and I'm going to start off with a fan favorite of mine, someone who you and that a-hole Nick did not think that was going to play this year, and that's Andrew Luck. The guy went 6 for 9 for 64 yards. He looked good. He was slinging the ball.
Did
He
he
was
get hit?
throwing slants.
Did he get hit?
Did get hit. He got hit, but it wasn't like that kind of hit. It was more like a wraparound throwdown.
Yeah.
When he does get hit, we'll see more. But also another guy on this team that I was very, very impressed with was Marlon Mack. And Marlon Mack, I'm so high on him in fantasy drafts, let alone his career going forward. He had 2 receptions for 23 yards, which both came from Andrew Luck. He had 4 rushes for 9 yards, which wasn't that impressive, but nobody ran the ball well for the Colts coming out that backfield. But
Well, they're gonna be a backfield by committee. I have a feeling, but Marlon Mack might get the third down reps.
I think so you have Nyheim Hines and Marlon Mack are pretty much similar type of receiving backs, and then Jordan Wilkins and Marlon Mack are similar type of running backs, running the ball. So in my opinion, Mack is both best of both worlds. And so I would give him the edge. Another guy I want to give props to, and another guy who I'm very, very high on, is Kieran Johnson, running back, rookie, drafted in the third round by the Detroit Lions, out of Auburn, wore 21 in college, which was my favorite number and my football number as well. I'm so high on this kid coming into the league, not only as a fantasy sleeper, but as a running back and a football stud. Let's be honest. The Lions have had a 100-yard rusher in 3 seasons. I think they finally got a guy on their team who was going to be able to do that. He has 7 rushes yesterday for 34 yards. Okay, that's a 4.9 average. He had a 75-yard rushing touchdown that was called back because of a hold that had nothing to do with his success on the run. And I hate when that happens. It's like the hold happens on the complete other side of the field. So the hold happened on the right tackle in the backfield, but the run was to the left. He ran to the left. He broke an ankle, like a ankle tackle, and as he was breaking it, he spun off another defender and did a cutback and ran all the way down for the touchdown. It was a beautiful run. He looks smooth when he's running, which he always does. He kind of looks like, I would want to say, a slower Ezekiel Elliott, because Ezekiel Elliott runs the ball very, very smoothly, right? The way he runs and the way he kind of glides on the field, similar to like what Le'Veon Bell is, but he's just slower. And Kieran Johnson, if he could continue to run the ball the way he did that first game, it'd be awesome. And then he also added 4 receptions for 33 yards. Like, if he could get passing down work as well as running the ball, I love me some Kieran Johnson next year. Be on the lookout for him. Do you have any players in mind or any teams in mind that disappointed you the first week of the preseason?
I mean, I'm a little worried for Sony Michel simply because he was injured, didn't play the first game.
Right.
But like, to be genuinely, I'm not genuinely concerned about any player outside of injury concerns, because again, it's preseason game 1. The only things that you're going to be, it's good to get excited about players because they've never seen an NFL rep. Right. These rookies that are getting NFL reps against, mid to high tier NFL talent, this is good. But to really say I'm worried about X, Y, and Z, no, this is when you work out those issues that aren't injury related. So there's no one that just screams, I'm super concerned about you. If there's anyone I'm genuinely concerned for, it's the San Francisco 49ers and Richard Sherman. Simply because if he doesn't have safety help, he's going to get burned on top end speed every time. That's the only concern I have, but that's something that's not preseason didn't tell me. That's something that, watching football has told me.
Yeah. So I'm concerned of 2 things. One, I'm concerned about the Raiders, and as a team, and Ben, I know when you listen to this, you're not going to appreciate it, but a team in which I would love to see do good. They represent so much to football when they were playing back in Oakland.
Well, they leave Vegas next year.
Los Angeles, yeah, and then they leave
Las Vegas.
Yeah, they leave to Las Vegas, but when they played in LA, I'm saying they met so much to football before they went to Oakland. Like, it's just for an organization to make a move like get Gruden and to be such a mess. I mean, Martavius Bryant, you bring him over here for a 3rd round pick, right? Or was it a 4th round pick? I'm not sure what it was.
It was too high.
It was too high of a price. And now all of a sudden, him and Gruden aren't in sync together, but you're the one that made the move to bring him here. Martavius Bryant came out and said, oh, we're gelling, we're doing good. I'm excited about the offense. I love what Coach Gruden is doing. And then Gruden comes out the next day and say, Martavius Bryant needs to get his act together. We're expecting him to do better things than what he's doing right now. Did someone miscommunicate somewhere? Did someone rip out a page of a book or a letter between the two?
Well, no.
Not on the same page?
Martavius Bryant kept the issue. If there were issues that Martavius Bryant had with Gruden, Martavius Bryant did the right thing and kept him in-house. Gruden did the commentator thing and blasted him in the air. Maybe he was talking about maybe he just expects more in terms of like maybe not meetings thing, but like I expect you to catch more balls.
Right.
But again, Gruden, you were part of the media for like 8 years. You know this is cancer to your team.
Right. Yeah, and then on top of that, you had the Kahil Mack situation. So he was
Which
fined 800 and what 90, 809, it was $814,000 for not showing up to the game, the first preseason game, which is according to the CBA. So
ain't
it's
worried.
just yeah, you ain't worried. You're Buffalo alum right now is about to you may become a New York Jet. I see the Jets possibly trading for someone like that. That's exactly the type of defensive player that they need.
Honestly, we can afford him at the moment. We don't have any huge contracts outside of Tremaine.
It's just what do you guys gonna have to? You guys definitely have to give up a first round pick if that happens. So, nonetheless, yeah,
but
no,
so
absolutely. If you guys could
but
do
the one worry is
money for a first round pick, you do it.
Well, that's the one worry. He wants 22 mil a season. Right now, the highest paid defensive player is Von Miller at 19.
Yeah.
It's a unique situation, but I don't know. Maybe he'll take a little bit.
Deserves Von
19.
Miller
Yeah,
he deserves Von Miller money.
I wouldn't be surprised if some team paid him 21.
Listen, at the end of the day, Von Miller was the sole reason why the Broncos won a Super Bowl. Khalil Mack is not a sole reason why this Raiders team is doing good because they haven't done good. Okay, so that was my concern as far as a team, as far as a player, and I speak this because of a fantasy perspective. Deshaun Watson's first game back, he threw one pass for 4 yards and played the series. I'm concerned about that because if he was so fully healthy to play, so fully healthy to be 100% and play the game script and not worry about anything, why did he only throw one pass? Why did he only play one series? You want to see what he got. I know it was the first preseason game, and I'm probably overreacting.
You are overreacting.
But people need to take they need to take a step back because Wentz could have played today. They said it. If today was a Super Bowl or today was a must-win game, Wentz would have been out there playing. But they didn't rush him back because if you're going to put him out on the field, you're going to put him onto the field to perform and to play, not to do one little dump-off pass and have the guy run for 4 yards. I don't want the Texans to make a mistake here by rushing him out there. Okay? He tore his ACL just like Wentz did, and Wentz is not coming back, if that, by the first game of the season. Okay, and yes, Deshaun Watson tore his ACL a whole month before.
Yeah.
He uses his legs a lot more than Wentz does. Wentz can stay in that pocket and pass the ball and be just as effective as he was before the injury. Deshaun Watson, not so much. He used his legs a lot last year, and I think if you're not going to unleash him, and I don't mean unleash him, but let him throw more than one pass. When you're going to unleash him, unleash him. Don't hold him back, and don't play him at all. He should have sat this game, Lyle. He should have sat game one.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, should he have played? No, it was one series. It was worthless. Sure. I don't get when it comes to things like that. I wouldn't get concerned until after preseason game 3. Preseason game 3 is when you see the most of your starters. Preseason game 3 is when you see a little bit more semblance of the game plan. That's when I start getting concerned. I understand your concern. I get it. I think you're overreacting, but I get it. I respect it. But I respect it.
Yeah, whatever. In the words of Lyle, I digress.
Yes.
So those are some of my disappointments. So let's get some New York football and talk right now, right? So we got the Jets here. The Jets, I believe they won their preseason game 17-10, if I'm not mistaken.
17-0, shutout, boys. Shutout, boys.
I'll give you my bright spots, and it's two real quickly. I don't want to steal your thunder. So one, defense looked immaculate. Jamal Adams was hitting people. Defensive front looked good. You guys did lack some pressure, I believe, on the passer when you guys weren't blitzing. When you guys blitzed, obviously you guys got there pretty quickly. And Isaiah Crowell. Okay, I think this was such an underrated signing for the Jets because you lose Forte, right? Now you just lost Elijah McGuire for the first 2 months of the season, right, with a broken hand. So now you got Isaiah Crowell, you got Stephen Ridley, I believe. Oh no, Thomas Rawls, right? Thomas Rawls, and you got Isaiah Crowell. Isaiah Crowell did not have a good season at all with the Browns last year. He was outplayed by receiving back Duke Johnson, who all he does is receive the ball. And unfortunately, he outscored him and outplayed him rushing the ball as well, even though Isaiah Crowell led the team in rushing. Isaiah Crowell is 25 years old, and you guys got him 3 years for $12 million. So you guys got him for a pretty good bargain. You got him in his prime. You got him in his youth. He came in and he balled out. He was running the ball hard, and that pass that he caught by Teddy Bridgewater to turn up, break a tackle, and get into the end zone, I was very, very impressed by that. If Isaiah Crowell could give you that in the backfield, splitting time with Bilal Powell, I think Jets are going to be able to run the ball very, very successfully. And I think this is a guy who could probably run for 1,000+ yards, not like 12, 1,300 yards, but crack the 1,000-yard mark, especially with that Jets defense being so resilient and the way that they were able to play yesterday.
So my take on the Jets preseason game. The biggest, I think, one of the biggest, most important things that occurred at that Jets preseason game was our first look at nose tackle Nathan Shepard. People don't realize this, but the best Jets defenses in recent history have had excellent nose tackles. Chris Jenkins being the prime example. Nathan Shepard looked good. Nathan Shepard first play from scrimmage, shed a block and just destroyed Tevin Coleman. If he can keep that up, if Nathan Shepard can be that run stopper, that frees up our linebackers to do more. That frees up our ends to do more. That frees up the pass rush in ways that we haven't been able to do since we had Chris Jenkins. So I'm very excited for that. Our defense looked very good. Our secondary, oh boy. If Tremaine keeps that up, if Jamal Adams keeps destroying people, Marcus May does what Marcus May does, and Claiborne looked really good too. It's going to be great.
Talk to me about him, that bum.
Oh, you're just salty because the Giants had to pick him up on cheap. But
the Giants had to pick him up on cheap. We didn't want him. We like burning him too much.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, he'll get burned from time to time. But again, the defense looked really good. We held Matty Ice to 60 yards at most when their first team offense was there. Defense looked good. Offensively, our quarterbacks, all three of them, had success. And this is the first time, again, preseason game one, Darnold was up against the second string defense. Darnold looked comfortable. Darnold looked good. Very excited for him. Was able to read baseline NFL defenses, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
But Bridgewater looked good. McCown looked good. They all looked like viable options. That's why I think will the Jets, will they have a quarterback question? Absolutely. Does Sam Darnold start game one? Absolutely not. For the love of God.
Oh, so you're still not going to eat your words.
If I see Sam Darnold out there as the starting quarterback in game one.
What a hater.
No, I'm not hating. I just don't want him to get violated, i.e. Nathan Peterman. I just don't want to see him throw 5 picks when he sees like a defense that isn't a base cover 2 zone.
Which is funny because Nathan Peterman looked actually good. So.
Yeah, well, again, it's preseason game one. It's going to happen. But, the Jets, these are the steps the Jets need to take. They got to make sure they keep penalties under control. That was a huge, huge issue for them. And it showed up a little bit last night. And, their defense the defense is going to have to play well. I do like your Isaiah Crowell take. The other running back is Bilal Powell, by the way. I don't know why I agreed with you on Thomas Rawls. I feel shame. But Isaiah Crowell was a good pickup. Again, he doesn't get much attention because he was playing for the Browns. But we have a couple of good running backs. Are they world beaters?
Trey Canyon looked fast. He just didn't really do much with it.
None of them are world beaters. None of them are going to blow the top off the game. But they are serviceable running backs who you can give the ball to 20, 30 times a game. Mm-hmm. And that's all you can ask for. This team. I'm not expecting this team to be a huge world-beating team. I'm not expecting blowouts. I'm not expecting an offensive juggernaut. It's going to be close games, and its defense if this team goes anywhere, it's going to be the defense carrying the team.
What about a team? What about a part of the Jets that you're a little bit worried about?
I mean, it's always going to be the pass rush. The pass rushes needs to step it up. It's going to be a lot of it's going to be on outside linebacker Jordan Jenkins. He's going to really need to step up his ability to pass rush because when we do blitz, he's going to need to get there fast. And he's probably going to be him or Leonard Williams going to be the ones that are doubled.
Right. So we're going to get to some Giants talk now, talk about the Giants. And since I feel bad for going and talking first about your team, well, I'll let you talk about the Giants first. Tell us a bright spot about the Giants.
Well, if you follow Justin Polizzi on Twitter, you would have seen that he retweeted the first run of Saquon's career 836.5 times.
How
You
can
need
I retweet it half a time?
that's the thing. It was ridiculous. Um, Absolutely ridiculous. By the way, for those who didn't know, Nick has been messaging us, so he's not able to join it, but he's been messaging us because he's watching us on YouTube Live, just going off on Justin for the Thomas Rawls thing, and it is hilarious. But I digress. Basically,
Sorry,
yeah,
I had said Stephen Ridley originally, and I switched it up to
yes,
Thomas Rawls. I don't know why I did that.
but
They both. I don't know. They both suck.
yeah, but basically, Saquon he looked good. Um, Justin, you need to take a breath though. It is preseason. It was one run against the Browns defense, so he's not the second coming of Christ. But Barkley looked good. The Giants didn't look like the worst team in the world like they did last year. But I'll let you go dive into it. I want to hear what your take is, but without talking about Saquon because we get it. Saquon's great. Saquon's the second coming of Jesus. Saquon's going to create world peace. He's going to cure cancer, and he's also going to pay everyone's child support. Saquon is God. I get it. That's what you think.
Yeah, no, he is God. I mean,
Oh
it's undisputed. There's no doubt about it. I didn't have that many bright spots for me, to be honest. Maybe I'm a little bit more critical of my team than others. I thought Eli looked good and comfortable in the pocket. He threw good balls. He did have a drop, of course. That's just Eli's MO when he throws the ball to his receivers.
Yeah, because he can't throw a spiral, but that's a whole other thing.
Has nothing to do with anything. The ball hits your hands, you catch it.
Oh, agreed. But he also can't throw a spiral.
Unless you have stone hands like Nick.
He can't even defend himself. What up?
So Saquon, of course, was the bright spot. Now he did have one run in which he lost 2 yards, and then a run in which he only gained 1 yard. But the one that he gained 1 yard, he actually turned nothing into a little something. And the one that he lost the 2 yards, he tried to do too much. And I think that's you take the good with the bad with Saquon. Kind of like Melvin Gordon. Gordon does the same thing. He either wants to run for 10 yards or run for -3. It's just you take the good with the bad. And of course, he did get 39 or 38 yards on that first carry. It looked amazing. But the run that impressed me the most was his last run, which was he got a dive kind of like up the middle. There was nothing there. So he bounced it to the outside, and he was one-on-one against rookie cornerback Denzel Ward out of Ohio State, in which the Browns drafted 4th overall.
Yeah.
He shook him up a little bit. He stiffed him into the ground and kind of hobbled for 2 or 3 more yards, and ended up getting a 3-yard gain out of nothing. That's the kind of play that I was impressed with because he was able. That's what an NFL running back does, right? When you're about to get swallowed up for a no gain or 1 yard loss, you're able to bounce the outside and put a stiff arm or just turn the corner and get something. And there's not many running backs in the league that could do that. So to me, that was impressive. And another impressive bright spot was Kyle Lauletta. I thought he looked comfortable throwing the ball. Unfortunately, he got to play with the third strings.
He's your future. Lauletta is your future.
And I want to transition that now to because Davis Webb looked horrible. He overthrew almost every receiver. And
he's not very good.
Even though it's better off to overthrow a receiver because that's a slight adjustment in the way you're throwing the ball, because when you're throwing short, it's just a lack of your elbow movement. But he was 9 for 22. That's worse than what Josh Allen did. That's worse than
why did you see that Josh Allen play where he ran backwards 30 yards?
Yeah, I mean,
he's gonna be great.
Josh Allen actually looked pretty good despite him throwing 9 for 20. I mean, nonetheless, but 9 for 22 for 70 yards. David Webb. He did not look like he knew what was going on. He looked like he was like a chicken without a head. That's basically how he looked. And he overthrew a lot of receivers on plays and passes in which there's no excuse to not hit the receiver. So that's my downfall on that. And the other part of it is Eli Apple. And Eli Apple, I know we're giving you a second chance here. And you did have 2 or 3 nice plays throughout the first set of series, but you also got eaten up and you can't tackle for crap. One of his biggest issues coming into the league was tackling, and it looks like 3 years in, and he still has to solve that issue. If he's going to have struggles tackling, continue going forward throughout the season, it's going to be a rough year for Eli Apple. It's going to be a rough year for Landon Collins, always going to have to cover his bag and not be able to be the free safety that he was 2 years ago when he almost won the Defensive Player of the Year. So that's my downfall. Those are my down spots for the Giants.
Honestly, if you had to pick who looked better in their first preseason game, Jets or Giants,
Oh, the Jets, because even though I like what Teddy Bridgewater did, and I think if he continues to play the way he is, with the way Darnold's playing, you're gonna have yourselves a Sam Bradford of last year, where the Eagles traded Sam Bradford for a first round pick, where it blew everyone's mind. We're like, what the hell are you doing, Vikings? You're not that desperate to win now. You may have that situation. You really may have that situation. What happens if Rodgers goes down, week 10 or week 11, right? And they're 8-2, and the Jets are kind of out of it, or 500. I think the Packers would give a first round pick for Teddy Bridgewater in
If
order
he
to bring him in or something
continues.
if he continues to play the way he is. So I think the Jets are, for the first time in about ever, the Jets are in a quarterback surplus. You guys were never at a quarterback
Oh,
surplus. You
let,
guys were
let's. I
either.
mean, a quarterback preseason quarterback surplus.
Yes,
Yeah,
but this is what we're taking. Listen, we're excited for football, right? So we have to overreact with this first week. We'll see.
true.
We'll see how everything else goes. Preseason game 2 is. I think we'll know more or less after preseason game 3.
Who's going to start?
Who's going to be starting? Where does everybody look? But if this continues, this is all hypothetical. If this continues for the Jets did look better because defensively I thought they were phenomenal. I'm not worried about the Giants offensively because the Giants did push the ball down the field twice for a field goal and for a touchdown with both the first units. So I'm not worried about that. It's just defensively the Giants did not look good. Unless Tyrod is the next coming of, you know,
Tyrod's always been an efficient quarterback, but
yeah,
he's not great. But
and he looked great too. So
wait.
then again, the Browns did look better.
Speaking of the Browns, how have we not mentioned the first episode of Hard Knocks?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about
Jarvis Landry.
Oh, that's
So Jarvis Landry is always was seen as a locker room issue in Miami. If Jarvis Landry was doing what he did on Hard Knocks in Miami, I feel like Miami was the problem. Because Jarvis came out to me like a locker room guy, blessings, blessed, whatever he was saying. And that speech, I could see how getting under someone's skin, but he wasn't directing it at anyone. He was directing it at the core, including himself. And honestly, I think this Hard Knocks is going to be amazing. Like the first episode was great, but there's so many great storylines. So I definitely recommend peeping it because the second Josh Gordon returns, I will be speaking about nothing but Josh Gordon.
Yeah,
So,
and Hard Knocks was amazing. Like, it was awesome. And it's funny because some guy had tweeted something about Hard Knocks, and
some guy,
I retweeted it. He plays in Scott Fishbowl with me, not in the same league or division, and I retweeted it because what he said was funny. But I was like, when I watched Hard Knocks in the HBO, they didn't bleep out any of the curses. All you heard was Jarvis cursing his life out in that speech, and then Lyle goes ahead. Where are you watching it?
No. He said on HBO West, all the curses were bleeped. So the entire speech was beep. It was just like a flat line. I'm like, I don't know where you're watching about East Coast. We get everything.
Yeah, it was awesome. And Hard Knocks is definitely going to be a good season because, we had the first game, right, that they're leading up, and you had the Josh Gordon situation. What's their coach's name?
Hugh Jackson. His family died. Like, what is it? Like, his life is crazy.
Yeah, and condolences to you and your
absolutely.
Your mother and your brother. That's sad, but I really like how he took that episode. He cried. He shared his feelings with his coaches and his players, and he stayed there. He stayed there. You saw when he burst down into tears. 30 minutes later, he's out there on the practice field.
That's the thing. Like I'm glad that One thing that I really do appreciate about Hard Knocks is it shows that these players are people. Like, again, it's showing that Hugh Jackson, for as much as if he goes 0-16 again, the Browns fans are gonna like boo him, blah blah. But then you have to remember, he didn't do a great job as coaching. He's fired, but then he's still a person. Like, don't go to his house and throw bricks through it. Like, he's people.
All right. Anyways, that will do it for today's episode. Please be on the lookout. We got 2 very special episodes coming up. We have the NFL preview, in which we pick our winners of the divisions, playoff brackets, championships. We may have a special guest on for that episode. And we also have our fantasy football dive episode, in which Nick and I won't be joining us for that episode because all he'll be talking about is Josh Gordon every freaking pick. Nick and I
Not every pick.
Nick and I would do a fantasy football special, just talking about fantasy football, our sleepers, our busts, our breakouts, our rookies to keep eyes on, our quarterbacks, our rankings and everything. Which our consensus rankings will come out on Monday. I'm just waiting for Lyle to send me them so I could do the consensus.
Sorry, I'm doing. It's really hard for me to reconcile the QB one when I know Josh Gordon's going to play half of every game at QB and wide receiver throwing it to himself.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they score that. Is that a run? Is that a pass? Does he get a 0.5 for PPR? I don't know how that works.
That's not gonna happen. Anyway, so be on the lookout for those 2 episodes. We'll put on Twitter and Instagram the dates that they'll be dropping officially.
Yes, we will be. This episode again be recorded.
Will be up by.
It's recorded on 8/11. I'll have it up on 8/13, and we'll be releasing it along with our draft rankings.
Yep. So once again, I'm your host Justin Palizzi. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at easypalizzi_21. That's easy POLIZZI_21. You can follow our podcast on Instagram and Twitter at JNJTalksports. You can also email us at JNJTalksports@gmail.com with any questions, concerns, comments, or future topics you would like for us to discuss. Lau, you want to close this out for us?
Again, my name is Lyle Style, Lyles Style. You can find us. Again, as Justin said, you can find me on Twitter. You can find JNJ Talk Sports on Twitter and Instagram. And again, be on the lookout for our Twitch channel coming soon. It's going to be lit. And yeah, have a wonderful day.
iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play.
Subscribe to all. Bye. Have a wonderful evening.
Later.